It was a warm Thursday evening in downtown Phoenix, just past 6 p.m. The sun had dipped behind the tall glass buildings, casting long shadows over the nearly empty parking lot of a local diner. Officer Travis Dunn had just wrapped up a routine patrol shift, but his ego wasn't ready to clock out. That's when he spotted a sleek, matte black Dodge Charger parked slightly over the white line in the back corner of the lot. Its engine was still running. Dunn squinted. The driver hadn't exited the vehicle, and something about the tinted windows and idle engine annoyed him. He clicked his radio off, adjusted his belt, and approached the car, not out of duty, but to assert his presence. A man sat calmly behind the wheel, wearing aviator sunglasses, black leather gloves, and a tailored jacket that didn't quite scream local. He didn't flinch as the officer tapped on the window. Dunn gestured impatiently. The man rolled down the window, slowly. Not a word spoken. Not a smile shone. "Evening," Dunn started, puffing out his chest. "You parked wrong. Mind telling me what you're doing here?" The man turned to look at him, expression unreadable. Then he reached into his inside pocket. Dunn's posture stiffened. "No sudden moves, all right," he barked, hand inching toward his holster. But the man remained calm. And when he pulled out the object, it wasn't what Dunn expected. A sleek leather badge wallet unfolded in his gloved hands, revealing a golden shield with the letters that made Officer Dunn's spine lock up, Federal Bureau of Investigation. He said nothing, just let the badge speak for itself. Dunn stared. Then blinked. Twice. The officer's confident stance wavered. "Everything okay, officer?" the man finally asked, his voice low, composed, and unmistakably authoritative. Officer Dunn opened his mouth, but the words didn't come. The badge gleamed under the fading light like a silent warning. Not aggressive, just final. He stepped back instinctively, suddenly unsure of how much authority he actually held in this moment. Dunn cleared his throat. "Didn't realize, this is just standard check-in. Lots had issues lately." The man slowly closed the badge wallet and slipped it back into his coat with surgical precision. Then he turned off the car engine with a smooth click, the silence that followed making Dunn's heart pound louder. "You said something about my parking," the man asked, his tone casual, too casual. Like he was letting Dunn have one last chance to walk this back. Dunn forced a nervous chuckle. "Right. Technically over the line, but honestly, not a big deal. It's late. Just making rounds." The man studied him for a long second. Dunn couldn't read him, and that was terrifying. There was no anger, no defensiveness. Just that quiet confidence, the kind that came from someone who'd been in rooms Dunn couldn't even imagine. Then, finally, the man reached for his sunglasses, removing them with a calm grace. His eyes were sharp. Not hostile, but cold enough to make a point. "Let me give you some free advice," he said. "Don't let the uniform get ahead of your judgment. One of these days, you'll try to flex on the wrong person. Lucky for you, today wasn't that day." Dunn swallowed hard. "Understood." The man started the car again, this time with no hesitation. As he slowly pulled out of the spot, he paused just long enough to add one last line, "You didn't run my plates yet, did you?" Dunn shook his head. The man smiled faintly. "Good. Let's keep it that way." And just like that, the Charger pulled away into the night, leaving Officer Dunn standing in silence, suddenly very aware of how small his badge could feel when flashed at the wrong person. Officer Dunn sat behind his desk back at the precinct, still gripping his coffee like it might explain what just happened. He'd returned from the parking lot encounter without a single incident to report, but his thoughts were spinning. He didn't tell anyone the full story. Not yet. But someone must have seen something, because word was already spreading. Sergeant Holloway leaned over Dunn's desk, raising an eyebrow. "Heard you had a run-in with someone special tonight." Dunn tried to play it cool. "Just a guy parked a little crooked." Holloway smirked. Right. The kind of guy who drives a federal-issue Charger and flashes a bureau badge like it's a VIP pass to the city. Dunn stiffened. You knew he was FBI? We all know of him, Holloway said, dropping his voice. Goes by Langston. Nobody knows his full role, but when he shows up, people pay attention. He's not the type to carry a badge unless he means to use it. Dunn leaned back slowly. He wasn't hostile. Just, sharp. Sharp enough to gut you without raising his voice, Holloway said. Trust me, next time you see that car, let it pass. Dunn nodded, more serious now. But he couldn't shake the way Langston had looked at him. Calm. Calculated. Like he already knew every step Dunn was going to take before he took it. What was a federal agent like that doing alone, off-book, in a back lot? And more importantly, why him? Later that night, Officer Dunn couldn't sleep. He sat at his small kitchen table, staring at his laptop, curiosity gnawing at him like a dog on a bone. He wasn't supposed to do it. But he did. He logged into the precinct's internal system, typing in the make and model of the car, black Dodge Charger. Government plates. He ran a partial scan. Just enough to check if there were any pending alerts. Nothing. But then he cross-referenced the vehicle with local surveillance from the downtown grid. The system pinged back, the Charger had been spotted in 3 locations that day. All unconnected. A closed courthouse. A shuttered warehouse. And a private parking garage registered to a data analytics firm under federal contract. Dunn frowned. That wasn't random. That was a trail. He tried one more thing, he searched for agents under the name Langston. The results were sparse. One entry, redacted top to bottom. No rank, no department. Just one word next to it, classified. Dunn leaned back, heart thumping. Who was this guy? Then his phone buzzed. No caller ID. He hesitated, then answered. A pause. Then a calm, low voice. Curiosity is a dangerous habit, Officer Dunn. Dunn's mouth went dry. The voice continued, you were doing just fine, until 5 minutes ago. The line clicked off. Dunn stared at the phone, a cold chill climbing up his spine. Officer Dunn stood up from the table so fast he knocked over his chair. His apartment suddenly felt too quiet. The kind of silence that screams danger. He rushed to the window and peeked through the blinds. Nothing, just the empty parking lot outside. But it didn't calm him. Not even close. He replayed the voice in his head. Calm. Precise. Not threatening, but undeniably in control. It wasn't a warning. It was a reminder. He thought about deleting the search logs, but something told him it wouldn't matter. Whoever Langston was, he already knew. He had known from the moment Dunn tapped on his car window. Dunn didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he arrived at the station early, eyes hollow, nerves fried. He sat at his desk, and there it was, a plain manila envelope. No name. No seal. Just, there. He looked around. No one had seen who left it. With shaking hands, Dunn opened it. Inside, one photo. It was a still frame from the previous night. Of him, standing outside the Charger, face partially lit by the car's headlight. Langston, barely visible inside. The caption scribbled in bold black ink across the bottom, be mindful who you test. Some carry bigger badges than yours. That was it. No signature. No threats. But the message hit like a punch to the chest. Dunn slid the photo back into the envelope, sealed it, and placed it in his drawer. He didn't shred it. He didn't report it. He just sat there, breathing shallowly, realizing the truth, he'd stepped into a game far above his rank. And Langston had just shown him, without a word, exactly how outmatched he was. For the next few days, Officer Dunn kept his head down. No extra patrols. No digging. No running plates that didn't need to be run. But paranoia had moved in like an unwanted roommate. Every unmarked car made him flinch. Every knock on the precinct door pulled his eyes away from the screen. Still, the silence was somehow worse than the message. Until day 5. A station-wide internal alert went out just after 2 p.m., do not engage with subject Langston without federal clearance. If approached, notify command. No further action is authorized. It wasn't addressed to him directly, but it may as well have been a private message in red ink. Dunn stared at it, stunned. Now the department was officially acknowledging Langston. That didn't happen. Not unless someone at the top wanted to make it very clear, this man isn't just federal, he's something deeper. Then it hit him, Langston had let him see the badge. Not because he had to. But because he wanted to. A quiet show of dominance. A message, I walk through your world untouched. Later that night, Dunn opened his locker to grab his jacket. Taped inside, without explanation, was a new sheet of paper. No envelope. No photo. Just a single typed sentence, you looked into me. I looked into you. We're not equal. Let that be enough. No signature. No trace of who placed it there. Just cold, clinical truth. And Dunn finally understood, he wasn't just warned. He was marked. 3 days passed. Dunn kept his routine tight. No night patrols. No personal inquiries. Just the job, clean, safe, uneventful. Until 2 agents from Internal Affairs showed up unannounced. They weren't in uniform. They didn't flash badges until they were already sitting across from him in the conference room, a closed folder on the table between them. Officer Travis Dunn, the older one began, we're conducting an audit of all recent inquiries into federal vehicle activity logged from this department. Your login ID came up. Dunn's stomach dropped. I was just verifying parking inconsistencies, he stammered, voice dry. Didn't know it was federal. The younger agent opened the folder. Inside were printouts. Screenshots. Surveillance pings. Dunn's search log. Even the moment he answered the unknown call at 11:43 p.m. They had it all. The older agent leaned forward, folding his hands. Langston isn't in your jurisdiction. He isn't in anyone's jurisdiction. When a man like that shows up in your city, your job is to observe, not engage. Dunn's voice caught in his throat. I didn't know. You do now, the younger agent said. Then something unexpected happened. The older agent closed the folder and slid it back into his briefcase. No charges. No report, he said. But let this be the last time curiosity overrides discretion. They stood. And before leaving, the younger agent added, almost as an afterthought, he's not the one you should be afraid of. But if he decided to make you disappear, nobody would even look for the body. Then they walked out, leaving Dunn in the room alone, and sweating. That night, Dunn didn't go home. He couldn't. He sat in his car for hours, engine off, parked in the far corner of a public garage with a full view of the exit and his hand resting lightly on his sidearm. Not because he thought he'd need it, but because he hoped he wouldn't. His phone stayed on airplane mode. His laptop stayed shut. He didn't want another message. Another photo. Another voice creeping into his life like smoke under a locked door. At 1:17 a.m., he finally drove home. The apartment building was still, lights off on every floor. No footsteps in the hallway. No neighbors lingering outside like usual. Too quiet. When he reached his door, he froze. Something was off. Not open. Not broken. Just, different. The scent of unfamiliar cologne lingered in the air, faint, clean, expensive. The kind of detail you only notice when you're trained to feel watched. He unlocked the door and stepped inside. Everything looked untouched, until he reached the kitchen. There, on the counter, was a small black box. No label. No ribbon. Just sitting there, waiting. Dunn stared at it, every instinct screaming to leave it alone. But of course, he didn't. He opened the lid. Inside, a flash drive. And underneath it, a single bullet. Polished. Untouched. Etched into the casing were 3 letters, F.B.I. Dunn didn't sleep. He didn't even sit down. He stood at his kitchen counter, staring at the flash drive and the bullet, the weight of both burning in his mind. He wasn't stupid, he knew what this meant. This wasn't a threat. It was a demonstration. The bullet said, "We know where you are." The drive said, "You're about to learn why you should have stopped asking questions." Against every bit of good sense, Dunn grabbed his backup laptop, a personal one, not connected to the precinct. He slid the drive into the port. The screen blinked once. Then black. Then a single video file loaded, play_me.mp4. No timestamp. No metadata. Just that name. He clicked it. Grainy footage played. Surveillance style. No audio. Just black and white stills with motion. At first, it showed a small, windowless room. Concrete walls. A steel table. A chair bolted to the floor. Then a man entered. Bound. Head covered. Moments later, Langston entered the frame. No badge. No words. Just, presence. The video showed Langston sitting across from the man, leaning forward. He whispered something in his ear. The man began shaking. Minutes passed. Then Langston stood up, turned toward the camera, and stared directly into it, like he knew Dunn would one day be watching. Then the screen cut to black. New text appeared. He had the same problem you do. He didn't know when to let go. This is your final lesson. The drive ejected itself. The screen went dark. And Dunn, for the first time in his life, genuinely considered walking away from the badge. Because this wasn't about protocol anymore. This was about survival. The next morning, Dunn arrived at the precinct before sunrise. His uniform was pressed. Boots polished. But his face? Pale. Focused. Hollow. He walked straight past the chatter in the briefing room, past the coffee machine, past the bulletin board where other officers swapped jokes and beat maps. He went directly into the captain's office. Captain Morales looked up, surprised. "Dunn. You're early." Dunn didn't speak. He simply placed a sealed envelope on the desk. The captain stared at it for a moment, then opened it. One sheet of paper. Typed. Signed. Resignation effective immediately. Morales looked up sharply. "This is a joke, right?" "Dunn, you've got 6 years on track for lieutenant, it's not a joke," Dunn said, voice even but low. "I'm done. And I'm not explaining." Morales narrowed his eyes. "Is this about that federal tag you got into it with? You stepping down over that?" Dunn shook his head slowly. "No. I'm stepping down because I want to stay alive." Morales went silent. He knew Dunn wasn't the type to spook easy. And now, suddenly, he looked like a man who had seen something that changed the way he viewed the entire system. "Did he threaten you?" the captain asked. Dunn gave a slight, tired smile. "No. He didn't have to." He turned to leave, but paused at the door. "Whatever that man is doing in this city, just stay out of his way." And with that, Travis Dunn walked out of the station for the last time. Badge surrendered. Gun holstered. And behind him, the door to the only life he'd ever known slowly closed, for good. 3 months later. No badge. No uniform. No patrol. Travis Dunn had traded in his squad car for a second-hand pickup and a rental cabin 2 counties over. He chopped wood in the mornings. Fished in silence. Slept with one eye open. He didn't talk to neighbors. Didn't check the news. And definitely didn't ask questions. But the memory of Langston never left him. Every time a black car passed the road near the cabin, his chest tightened. Every knock on the door made his hand hover near the drawer. Then one day, a letter arrived. No return address. No stamp. Just a plain white envelope on the porch, like it had appeared from thin air. Inside, a note written in the same cold, mechanical font as the flash drive: "You're learning. That's good. You were never the target. You were just the lesson. Now that you've passed it, stay quiet and stay forgotten." There was nothing else. Dunn sat back in his chair for a long time, the note trembling slightly in his fingers. No signature. No code. Just closure, of the darkest kind. For the first time in weeks, he felt something like peace. He burned the letter in the fireplace. Then walked outside into the foggy woods, where no one would recognize his face, and where men like Langston would never need to visit again. Because Dunn finally understood the rules: some men serve the system. Others live above it. And when a shadow like Langston passes through your life, you don't chase it. You disappear.